So, about a month ago, I had a first day at a new job, and it has been an incredible experience for the past month. It's been encouraging and therapeutic and inspiring, and so many different things. And I want to share that today, share what the job is, how it came to be, as well as sort of compare and contrast those feelings in comparison to photography for a living, YouTube for a living. YouTube, I've been making videos for 11 plus years now here, and all about photography and my photography and just sharing. And photography for a living, it's been about 15 years. So those feelings have always been a constant evolution, as they always will be. And I kind of want to share today where I'm at in this sort of middle ground period where I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to share today where I'm at because I think a lot of people can relate to it if you are at that place now, if you have gone through a similar experience, or if you aren't there yet. I think this is something that is pretty universal in this space. So let's start talking about where I've been for the last month. So for the past few weeks, I've been working downtown at Dard Hunter Studios in Chillicothe, making picture frames. Lots and lots of picture frames. This all came about very organically and unexpectedly. I was actually shooting an advertisement for a local insurance agency, and we needed someone to kind of stand in to play the part of one of the customers. So he called an actual customer, Dard Hunter, which was a mutual friend between myself and Andy, the insurance agent. I've known Dard for about 11 years now. I've got an interesting story that I'd like to share sometime soon on the channel on how I met Dard, as well as just his family's history. He's always been just an interesting person and just a kind person. So anyway, Dard comes in and we get to talking. He's like, hey, you would be interested in this. I just came across this massive box of glass plate negatives from the 1890s of Chillicothe. And someone had these. She said she didn't know what to do with them or how to convert them. She gave them to me, but I'm, trying to figure out what to do. And I was like, let me help you with this. And we plan on making a video sharing all of that soon because it's been incredible to see these photos. We've scanned over 200 different glass plates of photos made around Chillicothe, Ohio, all dated and labeled from the 1890s. It's fascinating. More on that later. But while I was at Dard's house working on this project with him and we just got to talking, I asked how things were going at the shop. He mentioned that he had an employee there that had been there for over a decade, but they recently had to retire due to health reasons. And he was having a hard time finding someone to, kind of fill that spot, mostly in sanding and finishing these picture frames. And immediately my ears kind of perked up because I'm sitting there thinking, how are you having a hard time finding somebody to work in this like almost 200-year-old, just beautiful, historic building, this massive wood shop, making picture frames like with Dard? Like it just seemed like that would be such a fun spot to be in. And it was on my mind like all day long after that. I got home and was telling it to Molly. And before I even mentioned it to her, as I was telling her what he said, she immediately was like, do it. And I was like, I know. I'm already there. I keep thinking about it. Because now that, raising kids and I've talked about it before with YouTube, a big plus of this job, making YouTube videos for a living is the freedom and flexibility for my kids and my family schedule and my brother. Like there are a lot of moving parts here, and being able to be available when I'm needed, that's like the number one priority. But over the last year or so, I've just been thinking more and more about what else could I do once I'm done making YouTube videos and at least doing it for a living, doing it on a consistent basis where it's my job and my income. Do I want to go back full time to doing weddings and portrait work and just freelancing like I always did before that? Do I want to do something completely unrelated to photography? And that idea has been growing more and more over the last year, maybe 2 years, where I've just thought the idea of being able to do something where I can just clock in and clock out and I'm not constantly thinking about the next thing and creating. I think whether you're making YouTube videos, that's probably like very relatable because you're always thinking about what's the next thing I'm going to make and say and edit and post. And like, it's a lot of small decisions all building up to just, it's an ongoing thing. Whereas I love the idea of being able to clock in, just give me an assignment, give me a list of things to do, and I'm just going to do that. And I don't have to think about my own trajectory or steps or anything. There is no variable. It's just me focused on doing that one thing. And then when I leave, I'm off. And I'm not thinking about how to do that job tomorrow when I clock in. Whether you're a photographer for a living or if you have a YouTube channel, if you're just self-employed, if you have any solo endeavors of any kind, I think you kind of get what I'm getting at. Because I've advocated for making a living with your camera by any means necessary, whatever it is you want to do. That's how I've made a living for the last 15 years. And it's given me so much more of a life than I ever thought I would have. Without photography, without putting myself in front of the camera especially, I would have just been in my own small, closed off little safe box. You know what I mean? Like, I've just been able to live such a more enjoyable and connected life, if that makes any sense. However, I've always said, like, the trade-off of that is going to be the burnout, because you can't escape it. There is no, I'm just going to put it down for a while, and when I feel inspired or when I just have the time, I'll get back to it. And as I've gotten older, as my family has grown and gotten older, that time balance has been, I think, the trickiest part, because photography for me is not something that I can just clock in and do. It's very much a part of just like the everyday connecting with the world around me. And I've never been one to like plan a day to go to a destination at a certain time to get the perfect light and just go get the shot and come home. Like, most of the work I enjoy and feel connected to, it's very peripheral. Like, it's not the thing, it's just the things I see on the way to the thing, you know, if that makes sense. So when life is life, I mean, we're in the thick of it right now. Forrest just had surgery a few days ago and had to stay an extra night, came home, went back to the ER last night. Now he's home again. There are always real life things that matter so much more than me talking about my little pictures and cameras and this lens versus that lens and whatever. And as I've gotten older, obviously that stuff becomes more and more apparent. And I don't want to just sit down in front of the camera and I can't be the like, all right, I'm going to sit down in front of the camera and just turn it on kind of person. And I don't know. I think I feel a lot of times like I stumbled into this YouTube thing where I got lucky that I started when I did. And I don't know what else the luck is, but it's just like, I don't think I'm the right type of person or have the right type of mentality to like go all in on YouTube, because YouTube isn't built and doesn't encourage or incentivize the kind of videos I make, or at least the way I make them. That's not to say it's against me. Like, I'm not good at playing the game of YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, it's on my own approach and everything, 100%. But it's without a doubt a confidence or lack of confidence kind of thing, where I'm just constantly thinking like, someone else can do what I'm doing right here so much better than I can, or make it more entertaining or more engaging. They're going to have a schedule that will allow all of that. Like, they will allow more engagement, more videos, more everything, more energy towards those videos. I just feel like my time and energy to put into making the videos has gotten whittled down so much due to just real life, regular daily responsibilities, that the idea of finding work where I don't feel like I'm coming in with, hey, sorry, this is all I had to show for this month. Like, that's how it feels sometimes with making YouTube videos, where I put this pressure on it because I think life has been so crazy this month. I haven't made much time for my own personal photography. I haven't even had time to like really engage with it in a real way. I don't want to just sit down in front of the camera and fake it and act as if I'm this like constantly engaged photographer who's like super disciplined. I think a lot of it is probably just setting realistic expectations for the viewer and me thinking there are these like unrealistic expectations. It's just this big mental struggle that I've been battling for at least a year, probably 2 years, where I've just been thinking like, what else can I do? And that fear would start to sink in where I'm like, yeah, what else can you do? Like, you've been messing around and playing around with your cameras like since you were a teenager. What else can you actually do and provide? Like, if anything, that was the big feeling of like, this is really all I'm good for. I don't think I can do anything else. So Dard mentions that he's looking for help at the shop, and several days go by where I just keep thinking about it more and more. And finally, I just texted him and said, I don't know what kind of experience you're looking for or what the hours are or anything yet, but I'm willing to work. I'm willing to learn. I would love to check it out. And he was like, that would be amazing. Come by tomorrow morning. You can check out everything and I'll show you what it would look like and what the hours would be. And the next day I was in there seeing the shop and seeing the space and just immediately felt like this is where I need to be right now. I am so easy to overthink every decision and stop myself from making a decision. I'll do everything I can to keep stalling and imagining every possible outcome in any possible direction instead of just making a decision. And this was one time where I just jumped and said, I will do it. And obviously the hours and the flexibility, the schedule, that's the most like key thing for me with any kind of work. So right off the bat, he was like, you can work whatever hours you want to work. As long as the work gets done, we're mass producing a lot of frames. It's not really a frame shop where someone comes in and has a picture framed. These are frames made for artists, for museum gift shops, a lot of high volume wholesale frame production. So he's like, you could be in here at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. It doesn't matter to me. So for me, while the kids are in school, I drop the boys off at school. I go clock in, and then all day I'm in this beautiful shop with shop cats always walking around, working with some awesome people. And then when I'm done, I clock out and I go pick the kids up, and then I'm home for the evening. And then on the weekends or evenings, when I've been able to pick up extra hours there as well, it's just a very flexible and enjoyable job being able to go into the same place every day and having that routine. I had no idea how much I missed having that sort of routine when it comes to like, there's a lot of the job and like little things about it that remind me a lot of when I worked in the cemeteries with my dad engraving tombstones. There's like just similar things in the rhythm of like when you're working on something and working with your hands and you get into a groove. I did not realize how much I miss that and how much I enjoy that. And like Dard was saying, he was like, I just do not like sanding at all. I can't stand still in one place for that long and just focus on sanding, which I can relate to because I'm ADHD. I like to bounce around on a lot of different things, but it has been like I'm going in and just meditating all day while I'm sanding. I can listen to an audiobook or listen to music in my headphones, and I'm just sanding all day long, and then filling joints and then sanding those. You know the scene in Parks and Rec where Jerry is talking about filling envelopes and licking them and sealing them and just doing that over and over, and everyone's looking at him like a psycho because he's like, this just feels right. That's how I feel with the sanding. I just really enjoy it. So this isn't to say that I'm done with YouTube or done with photography. I think myself, as I mentioned, ADHD, I've always been sort of a like little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of dog, a little bit of cat. Like I like having a little bit of options in terms of what I do rather than going all in on one thing. So I do like the balance. I'm just now finding the new balance of how I make things, how I make videos, when I make videos, and also what videos I'm going to make, because I want to be realistic with my time and my intentions with YouTube, especially knowing that this isn't my only thing and knowing that I actually am capable of doing things outside of just holding a camera or talking to a camera. That has also been very encouraging. And so I've had this feeling of like now looking forward with YouTube, what do I really want to do with my time making these videos? How do I want to make the videos and what do I want to make them about? And I really want to hear from all of you who are watching this video specifically, because this is a video of just me talking to the camera and just sharing with the group here. This isn't a video about any particular camera or lens that people are finding based on search terms. So any video I make about gear, it's always going to be so much more views and engagement and all that stuff. And YouTube Studio is going to tell me, hey, keep making more of this. But that's casting a really wide net over everybody. And I just don't want to play that game anymore. That's not to say I won't talk about cameras or gear. I'll continue talking about them like when I feel compelled to and am actually interested in sharing about different cameras and lenses and things like that. I feel like I've had this sort of pressure to always feel like I need to make sure I'm staying with the current things, or at least keeping up with. And that's just not the driving force. That's not the idea behind it for me. It's not something that I really think about or care about as much. So I want to hear from all of you who are here for this sort of thing, the more real connection and interaction conversation. I'm curious and I'm interested to hear from you in the comments on what you enjoy the most from this channel, what you will continue to watch as it gets made, like what kind of videos you enjoy the most. I'm very curious to hear that, because I'm just thinking more and more about the current chapter season that I'm in and looking ahead. And I know I have been a little less intentional with each individual video and just overall direction, I guess. There hasn't really been much of one over the last year, which I've been struggling with a lot of depression, and we've talked about that and grief. You know, we've talked about it in other videos, but again, feeling a little bit better, being out of my head and working with my hands, that's been very helpful. I've just been thinking a lot about, you know, the people who have stuck with me for this long, especially, and at this season of life, because all the ups and downs over the years, there have been times where I've been, you know, more consistently uploading every week. And then there have been times where I've just been so much less present. And there is this feeling of like, feeling like I'm cheating the viewer out because I'm not giving my best self. And I tried, but that's something that I have just thought a lot about over the last year. And more recently, like looking back and just thinking, how do I want to spend my time moving forward on YouTube? At least in this season of life, because as it will always continue to evolve. But I feel like I'm rambling. I don't know. But I appreciate all of you that are here, and I want to hear from you in the comments. You can also email me at mattdayphoto.com. I actually made that website with the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. If you're a photographer, you need to give your work a place to live, and a website is the best place to do that. Squarespace is the best place to build that website. I built mattdayphoto.com over a decade ago, and I did that with Squarespace. It's incredibly easy to get started. They have so many different templates for you to choose from, and you can customize those templates to your own liking. Photographers just drag and drop your files into the gallery, so if you want to showcase your personal work, your portfolio, whatever you want your website to be, you have all of the tools you need at your disposal. For me, having an online store is huge, so I can self-publish my own zines and photo books and prints and just sell them directly from me to the customer through my own online store. Order fulfillment and shipping is all managed easily, and my own little zines and books have made it all over the world thanks to my own online store. So I highly encourage photographers, check out Squarespace. Consider giving your work an actual place to live and not just on an algorithm somewhere. You can try Squarespace out for yourself for free at squarespace.com. When you're ready to launch your site, go to squarespace.com/MattDay. Use the code MattDay at checkout, and that'll save you 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain. So thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video and supporting this channel. Thank you all for watching this video. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this look at my current season of life and where I'm at, and it's a good place to be. I'm happy to be where I'm at, and I'm happy you're all here with me. So thank you all for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon.